it can be so hard to take time off as a business owner, and me owning my own esthetician practice. We unexpectedly took some time off, and it is just so hard when it's unexpected and trying to manage everything. Not only do you have to take time off, but you also have to play so much catch up when you come back. And we just had a recent family emergency we had to fly out to California, and it was just, we dropped everything. We brought the whole family, and we just didn't really know. We had to figure out, what we were going to do. And I had orders to place. I had, clients the next day, and it is just very hard managing it all when you own your own business.
Yeah, and there's no real preparation I think you could do. Of course, you can have some extra finances saved up, and I think that's always a really good thing as a business owner, to have a little bit of cash. Of course, we're not financial experts, so we're not going to tell you exactly what to do, and we're still working on that ourselves and finding that perfect balance of how much cash should be saved up personally and as a business to make sure when those unexpected things happen, they are unexpected. They are kind of emergencies to give you that peace. And but really, I mean, today I want to talk about some of the ways that we've worked through these, life unexpected things happening, how to bounce back. And I think mentally is probably the hardest thing to work on and figure out. And I think that's what we'll focus on today, is how to mentally handle those things, how to prepare mentally for them, and then how to come out the other side. Alex Hormozy just had an amazing video the other day talking about when life hits you. He was talking about general mental toughness and how much mental toughness that you have. But what he's explaining is that when you get hit, when something knocks you down, how long do you stay down, right? And that's really the difference between, strong mental toughness and, weak mental toughness. And I think one of the greatest things that we do in those seasons of really difficult time is, for one, we're believers. So we go, okay, what is God's plan for us through this? What is he trying to teach us? What is he trying to show us? And then really, the Bible teaches about, not having anxiety or cast your anxiety. Don't worry about tomorrow when today holds enough, sometimes overwhelming or difficult things. That was a paraphrase of the Bible, so don't think that's what the Bible actually says. But I think us focusing on day by day is what really helps us get through it, because, we both struggle. But during this past weekend when we left, my brain is like, what do we do on Monday? What do we do on Tuesday? What happens on Wednesday? What happens if we can't come back on Tuesday? What happens if we come back on Wednesday? And we're still trying to figure out Friday.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's so true. And thank you guys. Sorry we missed a week for our podcast, but even that, thinking about, oh my gosh, we have a podcast to shoot. Also the mental guilt of not, posting a Patreon video on Monday. That's always something that is on my brain, is like, okay, when I give back to the community or when I do something, I want to go full force, right? I always want people to know that I appreciate them, and just your guys' support just means so much to us. So not having that guilt to not feel bad. And also, I'm a people pleaser. I never want people to be upset. I want people to get what they pay for, right? So, or even if you're listening to these podcasts and you've been tuning in every Monday, I'm sure you're like, what the heck? Where's this Monday podcast?
I hope people think that.
Yeah. And there's just so much guilt that goes into it, not only, as an esthetician, but with our clients. And I really hope that my clients would be receptive, and they absolutely were, that they were understanding that I had to reschedule them. But I know that not everybody has, clients that are understanding. And even on Friday when I had to reschedule my clients, I had a few that were coming in town to have an appointment with me, and I didn't get to reschedule them because they were obviously not from Arizona. So I'm like, dang it, not only is it revenue loss, but, that guilt of how you are going to, what you budgeted for or what you were expecting to bring home isn't the case. And I think it's just important to, like you said, have a good mentality when it comes to these things. I used to get really, and I still struggle sometimes, I used to get really flustered to the point where it would make me angry. I'm, about to be on my time of the month, so I'm struggling with that a little bit lately. But I feel like it's so important to not get so flustered. I think that's something that when I grew up, I was, if one thing happened, me and my sister both had this habit. You would, freak out and have a whole thing that we would be like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world, right? Like drama queen. So I think it's just, you have to ground yourself and take a deep breath and realize that everything is going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Everything will work out. I'm a firm believer that everything does happen for a reason. Even through the whole process of me going through this, I just knew God had a plan. And even with my mom in the hospital, which a little bit of background, she ended up in the ICU for a horrible infection. She is on the mend now. Hallelujah. But yeah, it was a scary time for me, not only like mentally, like separating business and my personal life. It was mentally a really difficult thing to go through. And then bringing on, like, oh my gosh, I have a business to run. I have to schedule all my clients. I'm like, okay. And Chris, I am so thankful for him because he actually texted each of my clients and they were, again, so understanding. But even the pressure of, clients that didn't know that I was out of town and they're like, hey, I'm out of product. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just never ending. Right. So there's just so many mental things that you go through as a business owner. So I felt like so many people could relate to this episode, and that's why I wanted to talk about it because, it's just something that is real. And I feel like a lot of us go through.
I learned back in construction. I was in construction for a short period of time, and I had kind of a construction mentor, an electrician I worked under, and he was kind of mean sometimes. But one thing he taught me, we were building this like a back house, a granny flat that we used to live in. And I screwed a lot of things up. I used to always mess things up, and I would just freak out. Like I didn't want to tell him, like I would break drill bits or break a tool. And I'm like, I drill a hole in the wrong direction. And I was so afraid. And one thing that he taught me, and he'd always give me a hard time about it, but there's a solution to every problem. Mm-hmm. And he used to always say that all the time. And I'd come to him and I'm like, okay, this is where I messed up now. And he would go, okay, you're an idiot, right? Like he always had to make sure like I felt dumb about it. But he'd go, let's go. There's a reason
why you're not in construction.
Yeah, he would say, let's go figure it out. Yeah. And what I realized, and he would tell me that too, where I'm like, hey man, I'm really stressing about this. And he's like, there's a solution to every problem. And, it took me some years in life and to, see that across every platform between your mentality, your marriage, your things around the house, things with kids, cars, situations. But there is a solution to every problem, right? Yeah. And everything can get worked through. And sometimes, like you mentioned, getting grounded and taking that step back and going, there is a solution to every problem. And we were coming back from this trip and, we were kind of looking at our finances and we're like, okay, things a little bit tight. We had to move some things around. Budget just got moved around. I got to place some big orders again. And I just like sat there for a second. And I'm like, well, there's no reason to stress about it. There is a solution to every problem. And, we're on our way back from, a lot of screw ups with credit cards and spending too much on credit cards with business. And even before we got in the business, we weren't very financially responsible and had some unexpected life come up. But I'm like, Victoria, to be honest, like I love what we do. Well, I'll run up a credit card again. I'll get a loan. Like there's a solution to every problem. And our head is on straight. So we're not doing these things to go on a vacation or get a loan to go to Hawaii. But it's like, hey, if we got to keep this business afloat and everything can get figured out. Mm-hmm. And I think even this weekend, there is a solution to every problem. There, we're out of town. There was a lot of time where we're just kind of waiting around. And I think that's what made it a little bit difficult, where you couldn't plan anything. Your mom was in the ICU and the doctor's like, we'll see what's going to happen. And we're all just kind of like holding our breath. Like, is this going to escalate or is it going to get better? Yeah. And taking that step back and just going, okay, this is really important. Our family is here together. It's the first time in a long time that we completely unplugged from work. Yeah. Because we knew we needed the mental energy just in case something went down, that you wanted to be a leader in strength for your family, your parents and your siblings. And I needed to be that for the kids and you. And so it gave us a time to go, let's not think like let's not talk about work. Of course we had some scheduled Instagram posts that came up, where, try to respond to DMs, but like nothing was like a press. Nothing was, this is necessary. If text messages came in, we'll respond to on Monday or Tuesday. Yeah. We'll get to them when we get to them. Nothing's the end of the world. And that really did help. It helped us really slow down. Of course there's a lot to catch up as we came back. Yeah. But it gave us kind of a renewed spirit to go. We got some good family time. We remembered the things that are important in life. Yeah. It's us as us, our four your family. And then of course being there for, it's weird to call them extended family. It's just how I see them now because, you know, this is our circle, but being a strength for them and being a light to that extended family if they need us is the whole purpose of this.
Totally. And it's funny because, you know, not funny. I don't even know why I said that, but I feel like a lot of business owners can relate to this. Esthetician overhead is insane. Like there is so much overhead when it comes to retail, you know, supplies. If you own machines, there's, you know, solutions, there's tips, there's, you know, consumables, a back bar. There's just so much that goes into it. So not only are you like, okay, I've lost out on revenue, but you also have to place retail orders and all this, you know, to keep the business afloat. Like you need tips for your microneedling device. There's so many things that go into it that it's not like you can just take a deep breath and take time off and be like, okay, I'm going to, like, let's say like you're a chiropractor. There's literally like, it's your hands, right? You're cracking people's backs. So you go into it and you're like, you know, there's going to be stresses, of course, maybe like your front desk or whatever. But when you're an esthetician, you have to constantly be placing orders and, you know, doing so much on the back end. So that's also really difficult. And I've been trying to change my mindset is, you know, I get to, not I have to, of the sense of taking a step back. And every single time I feel flustered lately, I'm like, I am so blessed that I have so many clients that are messaging me. I have so many business owners or estheticians in the space messaging me, looking to me for guidance. And I am thankful for every single message. There was a time where I wish that people would respond to me, and now I have that. And the fact that people look up to me for guidance, and I have clients and, you know, estheticians in the space that I connect with and I can love on. It's something that God has blessed me with. So I'm thankful, but man, it is a lot when it comes to owning your own business.
Yeah, the kids definitely add an extra layer on top of everything. But yeah, that the point of being thankful is extremely important at wherever you're at in business. And I know we've talked about this a lot, but always take that step and you know, think about everything that you've been blessed with. And, you know, if you had the opportunity to open up a business and you're still struggling to get clients, you know, be thankful that you were able to open up a business, that you had, you know, even if it was just that sliver that, you know, you barely made it work, like you still had a chance to make it work. And, you know, not to get like too crazy, but, you know, third world countries, like people don't have a chance to go and start a business. You know, and I know we have a lot of people on YouTube that are across the world that probably struggle and look at what we have and go, oh, I wish. And so, yeah, remaining thankful is huge because like you just mentioned, when you come off an unexpected emergency and things, you know, the chips are everywhere and you're trying to rebuild and or the puzzle came out. I was trying to think of a good metaphor, but you're trying to put everything back together. It's really easy to get really frustrated by it. You know, today is now Thursday. We didn't have a chance to film a podcast last week. You know, usually we film it over the weekend during a nap time because it's kind of when it works best these days. And we go out of town for the weekend and we don't have a chance to film a podcast, and the podcast is up late. And for us, it's just being grateful that we have a chance to come on here and express and teach and have you guys walk through, you know, our struggles and our triumph is an amazing thing.
And I had to take a deep breath. Chris and I were both, I mean, having kids, like Chris said, adds this huge layer to what's already going on because we have two kids that fight a lot lately. And they just, I mean, it's constantly something we're taking care of two humans, right? But with that being said, we came back and Chris was like, let's try to shoot a podcast. And I'm like, what are we talking? Are we talking about 2 or just filming one for Monday? And he was like, well, let's try to do one this week and drop it and, you know, do it the next week. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, I'm going to give myself some grace. And unless you change your mind, you still want to shoot 2 podcasts. But I was like, I have to take care of myself. Otherwise, I'm going to overwhelm myself. So even in those little situations, you know, I saw that and I'm like, okay, I'm going to overwhelm myself. I'm going to outdo myself. So even in every situation, I think it's really important to remember that you're just, you know, I mean, I'm just one person and I only have one brain and I, you know, only have two arms. I was counting as if I was having more than 2 arms. But it's just like take a deep breath sometimes. It's okay. It's okay to, yeah, things might move a little bit slower, but man, I think that we need to give ourselves more grace and realize that people are human and they can understand, right?
Yeah, I want to push back a little bit, and I do think that grace is important. We talk about consistency all the time, and being consistent in the things you do, and that grace is fine. I for us, it's finding that balance to make sure that it's really easy to take advantage of giving yourself grace. And we've been in seasons of that before. And that's what I'm always trying to be careful of. And things are hard, and we like to do the hard things. It's what pushes us forward. It's what makes us better business owners, better parents, better husband and wife to each other, is do the things you don't want to do. And there is times in life where it's okay to take a step back and go, okay, I need a little break. Let's get my head back on my shoulders. Let's figure out what the next game plan is. Even for us this week, we're taking a little break or slowing down, but we're still building the game plan moving forward. And I see people all the time, and I've conversated with people all the time, that as soon as, like I mentioned, that mental toughness, as something hits them down, it's like, I just need time. Well, I need more time. Well, I need more time. Well, I can't even think about that right now. And really all you're doing, you're doing all the easy stuff in business, but are you doing the hard things? Right? Are you showing up? And for us, putting working all morning. You've been doing a bunch of tasks this morning on Optimize Aesthetics. We had our team member over today. We're handling a bunch of stuff. We still are, the kids are in the mix of that. We put her down. I'm like, okay, Victoria, go get ready, shoot a podcast. And we have 2 calls tonight, right? Like, it's a lot, and it's easy to go, well, the 2 calls are scheduled, we'll just do those, no podcast. Like, no, let's do what's hard. Let's make sure that we're not pushing away the things that, like, well, it would be a lot of work to go and do that. Right? And I think for us, we're constantly going, the things that are all a lot of work need to be on the forefront. The things you don't want to do are the things you should be doing. And those things are what pushes the business forward. Everything else keeps the business stagnant. Right. And we've talked about this before. There's a good book I think I read on that. But the idea is just that, like, you guys, you can have a successful business watching this right now and go, well, everything's good. Like I same amount of clients, everything is good. I make good money. I get to go on vacations. But like, are you actively trying to take your business to the next level? And if you say yes, but you're not doing the hard things, you're only doing the necessary, you're not going to grow. And so, and not to take away, you saying that you need some time and we need to take a deep breath, and those things are extremely important. But I just had to say, because you do this. So I always want to make sure, like, okay, Victoria also said, I'm going to give myself a break. And you give yourself a 1-day break, and then you're right back at it the next day, because we want to grow. We want to be better. We want to, like you mentioned, continue to pour into Optimized on the Patreon. We want people to constantly have these podcasts to learn and build from. So all those things I think it's just making sure you're balancing, and maybe not balancing, just understanding that both those things can coexist. Yeah,
no, that's so true. And I think that, obviously case by case scenario, when I talk about a break or things that seem overwhelming to me, it's like, I'm going to shoot a podcast. Like, it's what I love and what I'm going to do. But I'm like, do I need to shoot 2? Right. You're still working hard and working towards that. But, you don't overdo yourself. Otherwise, the outcome isn't going to be good. It's not going to be fruitful if you're just dragging to do it and you're like, oh, I have to do 2. No, start with that 1 and push yourself to, do when it feels right for you. Right. And I think that what I'm talking about, like, it's so funny. You're like, oh, taking a day off and then, a day off. Right. But maybe doing a little less and then going, that little moment of that day where I don't do as much gives me that fuel and refresh. Doesn't mean give yourself grace to like take the whole week off. Right. But it's like in that moment, what do you need to fulfill yourself to be better? Because the way that you show up for others is so important, and people can feel that. People can feel it's so crazy. People can feel podcasts when they listen to them. People can feel, when you come over and you may be a little sad. It's just really important for you to have the balance of both. I 100% agree. Don't, overdo it. I mean, don't give yourself grace to the point where you're not moving forward, but giving yourself enough grace to give yourself that little tiny refresh to keep working hard, because the hardest workers are the ones that make it to the top, truly. I know it's so cheesy, but like the hardest workers do the hard, right? that other people don't do.
Yeah. You talking about that break, I think is important too. And it's how you're spending that time. You know, you kind of like, filling your cup back up. I don't necessarily love that term, but I do like the idea of like, if you're going to take a day kind of off, are you destroying yourself or building up yourself? Are you taking a time to be outside and spend family time and make a family memory that's going to remind you and inspire you of this is why we do what we do? Or are you going to give your kids, the screen time all day and you watch movies and rot on TikTok all day?
Yeah.
Right. And you wake up the next day and you feel worse. Right. Or you overdrink or you overeat. I mean, we're notorious overeaters, right? Like we struggle with that. And we don't want to be killing ourselves.
Does anybody else feel that way? Like if you're a business owner, comment food.
Yeah.
If you feel if you feel like you overeat, because I feel like I stress eat, and I eat when I'm bored because I work a lot from home. I work like 3 days from home now.
I'm a notorious stress eater. We're bad at that. That's like the minute our kids overwhelm us, we're like, oh, we have to go to a restaurant.
I know.
We need to go out and
I need fresh air.
We need margaritas and tacos. But yeah, and I think, that idea, and that's where we still work on to this day of making sure that the days that we need that break, where, for us, our biggest thing is filling each other's cup and making sure that we have a date day. Or I love filming the podcast, but us making sure we're spending a good couple time so when we go back to work, we're refueled.
And I think Chris and I really balance out each other really well because, there's plenty of times where Chris is like, I'm exhausted and it's 9:00 at night and I'm like, do you want to shoot the podcast? And he's like, absolutely not. Like, I don't have the mental energy. So he knows in that moment that he isn't going to give a good outcome and be, sorry, I don't know the word. Sorry, my brain is fried.
Where you going?
I don't know. It's not going to be a fruitful episode, right? Yeah. That's what I was trying to say. But I think that it's just something that like Chris and I just know each other so well, and he may push me when I'm feeling like I am unmotivated and then he gets me motivated or vice versa, right? So it is really important to have people like that in your life. If you have people who are like, let's go out every weekend, that's not a very fruitful person to like be moving you forward versus a spouse or a friend that's like, you may not be feeling the best that day and they're like, it's okay, get back up, like let's keep going.
Yeah, that's one more conversation that we'll finish up this podcast with, is having good friends. I think in those difficult seasons, and that's through everything, good friends or family, whatever you have. And of course we always have each other, but having those outward perspectives. And we have two really close friends out here, and what made them our best friends, and they're new friends, I mean, the past few years, and they cared about our business. And if you're out there listening right now, your best friends, the people who care about you, are going to ask about your business and ask about how things are going. And especially knowing that all of you entrepreneurs and us, this is our life. Like, this is not only just our livelihood, it's our job. It's a passion for almost every esthetician that we've met. Is they're into this because they're passionate and they're happy. And this is their dream job. And so when you have friends that it's just chit chat and news and pop culture and music, they're not filling you in a way that you need. And like I said, it's amazing for us to have each other, but even our other friends, we look at and go, the friends that we want around, the friends that we communicate with the most are the friends who go, how is business? Are things good or bad? Why are they good or bad? What things are you doing new? And they don't even know anything about aesthetics. They're not going to, when you talk about, I'm thinking about bringing a new product on, they're not like, oh, exosomes? How many? 1 billion?
Yeah.
Right? It's just, they're happy that you're passionate. They're happy that you care. And those are good friends. And you are also should be that friend to your friends. Go and ask your people, what's new, and not just the, oh, cool, but like, really, why are you doing that? How are you doing that? What are the struggles? What makes it easy? And so I think that's huge in business, and we're blessed by the friends that we have. But like Victoria mentioned, even just a spouse, I mean, for both of us, that Victoria can nerd out, I don't care about plated as much.
We're going to cause arguments.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the arguments, they start and then hopefully they come together and they grow.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't care about plated. I don't care many exosomes there are, but you're passionate about it and you love it. And I'll listen to you rant and ramble on about how amazing it is, or how mandelic acid completely changes, the redness in the skin. And it's not my thing, but I'm happy that you're happy. And the same thing for you with me when I get into gear and content or or all my crazy ideas, you make me feel heard. And as a business owner, for somebody who this is their entire life, it's extremely important to have people in your life that let you nerd out about things that nobody else cares except for you, or not a lot of people care.
Oh,
right?
Have I supported you with your wild dreams?
All right. Who are you?
Well, you too, but I mean, I feel like we both support each other in each aspect of our business, of what we're passionate about: skincare and camera gear. If you struggle with overeating as a business owner, comment food.
If you made it this far.
And if you don't, comment healthy queen.
Yeah.
Or motivation. No, what should we do?
Healthy queen is fine.
Healthy queen. Said it. Food or healthy queen, okay? Yeah. But thank you guys so much for listening as always, and being patient with 1 week off, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see if another one comes out. If this comes out on Friday, the next one comes out on Monday. But thank you guys so much for listening, tuning into this podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode.